Hello everyone. In this lecture I am going to talk about phytoremediation. Actually this is the part 2 of that topic. In the part 1 I have talked about the concept and advantages and disadvantages of phytoremediation. Now in that part I am going to talk about the different processes by which plants remove the contaminants from the environment. So let's discuss in detail the different processes that plants used for carrying out phytoremediation. Phytoremediation processes. Plants utilize different methods to decontaminate the environment, and these methods depends upon their capabilities. Some of the plants take up the contaminants which are present in the soil particles or the water that is present around their roots, and this is termed as uptaking of the contaminants by the plant. Some of the plants possesses that ability to uptake the contaminants, and some of the plants bind the contaminant upon their roots, and this is also termed as adsorption of contaminants, and that adsorption may be physically or may be chemically. That means contaminant may interact chemically also with the root surface, and sometimes plants transport the adsorbed or absorbed contaminants to the other plant tissues. That is, they can transfer the contaminant from the roots to the growing shoots. Plants also prevent the or inhibit the contaminant from leaching into the soil or deep into the soil. Some plants can degrade the contaminant. Some plants can volatilize the contaminant, and in this way the plants can carry out the phytoremediation process by different methods, and therefore that phytoremediation process mainly occurs by 6 ways, and which we will discuss in the coming slides. Phytoremediation processes. Thus, depending upon the capabilities of the plants, phytoremediation process can take place by different methods, and these methods are phytoextraction or phytoaccumulation, phytostabilization, phytotransformation or phytodegradation, phytostimulation, phytovolatilization, rhizofiltration. So these are the 6 ways by which plants decontaminate the environment. Now the first one way by which phytoremediation takes place is phytoextraction or phytoaccumulation. Extraction means plants can extract contaminants that are present in the soil or water or uptake the contaminants, and phytoaccumulation means plants accumulate the contaminants which they have absorbed from the environment. There is another term that is phytoconcentration that is also used for that process, and that means contaminants becomes more concentrated in the plant tissues. In this process or in this method, plants absorb the contaminant through their root system and store these contaminants into the root biomass, and also transport the contaminants to the shoots, that is to the stems or leaves, and ultimately contaminants becomes accumulated in the roots as well as in the shoots of the plants. And the continuity of the phytoextraction process, that means how long the plants can absorb the contaminants into their tissues or into their root tissues, that depends upon that depends upon the ability of the plants to accumulate the contaminants into the shoots for longer periods. more the period for which a particular plant can keep these contaminants into its tissues without producing toxic effects to the plants, more longer will be the phytoextraction process run. And to achieve this, there is another capability that is present in plants, is that plants possesses extra detoxification mechanisms also, and these detoxification mechanisms ultimately detoxify the contaminants these which have been accumulated into the plant tissues. So more the capability of the plant to detoxify the contaminants, more will be the more longer will be the continuity of phytoextraction process occurs. Now, a living plant may continue to observe the contaminants until it is harvested, and after harvest, a lower level of contaminant will remain in the soil, and thereafter that cycle is repeated again and again. That is, the same type of plants are grown again and again on the same site, and these are grown for the टाइम कि सारा जो कंटेमिनेंट है, जब तक सारा की सारा रिमूव नहीं हो जाता, तो अगेन एंड अगेन ये साइकिल जो है रिपीट की जाती है कि सेम टाइप ऑफ प्लांट्स ग्रो किए जाते हैं, एंड अल्टीमेटली वो साइट जो है क्लीन अप हो जाती है आफ्टर रिपीटेडली ग्रोइंग दी फाइटोरेमेडिएटिंग प्लांट्स. And when the soil gets cleaned up, then it can support the other vegetation. So this is the first method by which phytoremediation takes place by the plants. Types of phytoextraction process. Phytoextraction process is usually carried out by two types. First one is natural. Natural means plants only carried out the removal of the contaminants from the soil, and no assistant or no assistance is provided to the plants. That is, the whole process is carried out only by the plants, and nothing is added to enhance the capability of the plants for the phytoextraction. Second way is assisted. Assisted means there are some chelating agents such as ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, microbes, and plant hormones are used, which mobilize or accelerate the contaminant uptake by the plant. That means these assistants help the plant to absorb the contaminant from the soil. Here the plants which are used in the assisted type are also hyperaccumulators, that is, which have capability to accumulate more and more contaminants into their tissues. So these are the two ways by which phytoextraction process can takes place. Examples of phytoextraction from soil. So there have been many contaminants have been reported which have been removed from the contaminated sites by the use of different plants. So here are some examples of these. First one is arsenic. This has been found to be removed by the use of sunflower and the Chinese brake fern. Cadmium by willow and alpine pennycress, uranium by sunflowers, zinc by alpine pennycress, lead by Indian mustard, ragweed, hemp dogbane or popular trees, endosulfan, which is a pesticide. It has been reported to be removed from the soil by the use of mustard and maize. Nickel by Thalassophis goislingens, mercury by Arabidopsis thaliana. So these are the different plants which have been reported to be carrying out the phytoextraction process effectively for the removal of these heavy metals and a pesticide. Now the next way of phytoremediation is phytostabilization. As the name suggests, here plants stabilize the contaminants at a particular place. That means all the soil that is present around the roots, that soil is stabilized by the plants. Plants make hold that soil onto their surfaces, make that soil immobilize and make the toxic contaminants to remain concentrated only around the roots of the plants, so that these contaminants becomes immobilized, they cannot move to the nearby soils. It actually focuses on sequestering, that means binding the pollutants or the soil in which the pollutants are present near the roots. And here, as was happening in the phytoextraction, contaminants were entering into the plant tissues, but here contaminants do not enter into the plant tissues. Here only contaminants remain concentrated in the soil that is present near the roots. And in this way, phytostabilization, cover formation takes place, in which simply soil and sediments are there which are highly contaminated with the contaminants, and such type of contaminated soil do not migrate nearby, and thus bulk soil migration do not takes place. And this is, we can say that this has happened by the way of phytosequestration, that means the concentrating the contaminated soil only nearby the roots. And in this way pollutants becomes less bioavailable to the livestock, wildlife and the humans, and thus these do not expose to these toxic contaminant, and therefore the exposure get reduced. Mechanisms of phytostabilization in plants. Plants stabilize the contaminated soil around their roots, and plants do that phytostabilization process by the three mechanisms, and these are dense roots. Plants that are used for carrying out phytostabilization are generally having dense roots, and these dense roots stabilize the soil at a place. They prevent the soil erosion or the blowing out the soil by the wind. Second one is transpiration, and there is a transpiration pull is there in the plants, and that pull raises the water from the roots to the shoots, and that transpiration pull make a force on the contaminated soil that is present around the roots. So due to that force, that contaminated soil remains bound to the roots, and in this way plants also prevent the leaching of the contaminants into the groundwater and all that. Now third way is by subsurface water stabilization. The dense roots also stabilize the water that is present around the roots and prevent that contaminated water to get interact with the nearby waste materials, and in this way prevent the migration of the contaminants to the nearby regions. So these are the three mechanisms by mostly the phytostabilization takes place by the plants. Examples of phytostabilization. The plants which are used for carrying out phytostabilization must possesses dense roots. Therefore, the plants which are having fibrous root systems are mostly used for carrying out phytostabilization process. So, examples of such plants are grasses, herbs, and mostly the wetland species. So these are mostly used which bound the soil which are present around their roots and thus stabilize the contaminated soil at a place.